Hey everybody, in today's video I wanted to show you my favorite vinyl pickups of 2022. So records that were released this last year in 2022 that I picked up that I really like. So I'm not showing you all of the records that I picked up, I'm just showing you my favorites. So obviously there's going to be some that are pretty apparent to you if you follow my channel, but there might be some on here that are going to be maybe a bit of a surprise. First off, my hands down two of my favorite pressings I picked up this year that were released, or this last year, 2022, were these two John Coltrane records. This one is John Coltrane's Blue Train and John Coltrane's My Favorite Things. These are probably two of his most famous albums, and definitely two of my favorite albums that he ever released. And these both sound amazing, and they were both well, this one, let me talk first about the Blue Train album. So this is from, on the Blue Note label, this is the Tone Poet series, and this has been mastered by Kevin Gray, and pretty much anything that Kevin Gray puts his hands on, I immediately love. This sounds absolutely brilliant. This is a mono recording, but it's one of those mono recordings that sounds like a stereo recording. It just fills the room. It is such a brilliant pressing. I highly recommend getting this. There are two different versions of this that were released. There's the single LP version, which this is, and there's a 2 LP version, which has like outtakes from the sessions as well. I chose to go with the single LP version just because a lot of times when I get those session outtakes, I listen to it maybe like one time, and that's about it. Obviously, if it was like the Beatles or Bob Dylan or someone like an artist who I really just like to dive deep into their music and listen to the outtakes, that'd be a different story. But with John Coltrane, who I do love, I didn't really want to go spend that extra money for that second LP. But this is fantastic, and the other thing I need to mention is the packaging on this is so great. They really went all out. It's really thick cardboard. The gatefold is beautiful, as you can see. Just fantastic photos of John Coltrane and the musicians that played with him, including my favorite jazz bass player, Paul Chambers. Anything Paul Chambers plays on, I immediately pick it up. And they also give you a fantastic inner sleeve, which I always appreciate. And I put the hype sticker on here. So yeah, this is the Tone Poet series, and mastered by Kevin Gray. So anytime you see Kevin Gray, or anytime you see recorded by Rudy Van Gelder, you want to pick it up because it's going to sound great. So I was really happy with this, and it definitely probably gets my vote for the best sounding pressing of 2022, I would say. So worth picking up for sure. And then this other John Coltrane release, this is John Coltrane My Favorite Things. This is the 2 LP version, and this also sounds amazing. So this one, this is presented in mono and in stereo of the original album. And this one, let's see, was this mastered by Kevin Gray or is this Bernie Grundman? Let's see, I will find out very soon here. So this one is not a gatefold, which is interesting, but it does come with a lot of stuff inside, which I really like. Let's see. I don't know who this was mastered by, but I think this one was mastered by Kevin Gray also. Could be wrong. Either way, it sounds great, and I think I prefer the mono pressing over the stereo pressing, but it's cool to get both of them inside here. And this was very affordable, by the way. I forget how much I picked this up for, but I think it was maybe like around $35 to $40. And it's just amazing. The sound quality is great, and this one happens to have been pressed in Germany. It's got a made in Germany on the back there, and just really fantastic. And like I said, this is just a classic John Coltrane album. This is kind of his breakthrough record. His version of My Favorite Things, I think, was even kind of like a hit in whatever year this was released, 1959, 1960, something like that, somewhere around the late 50s. Just amazing. So yes, highly recommend this, and I've been listening to this a lot. So on to another jazz classic that was re-released in 2022. This is Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers with Thelonious Monk. And this one is a mind blower as well. This sounds so fantastic. And it's very similar to the My Favorite Things packaging. It's not a gatefold, but you get two discs in it. And this one does come with a very, very cool book with a lot of great photos, a lot of great information, and shows like some of the original recording information, all that kind of stuff. And this one sounds amazing as well. And I don't think this one was done by Kevin Gray, mastered by Kevin Gray. This may have been mastered by Bernie Grundman. I'm not sure. Either way, it sounds great. And this is a mono recording as well. But I just highly recommend this. If you've ever seen this and wondered what it sounded like, or if you know this album, this is a great pressing to pick up. Really, really, really like this a lot. Especially if you like Thelonious Monk or Art Blakey. I mean, those two are just complete jazz legends, obviously. And anything they ever put out is worth picking up, in my opinion. So, yes, couldn't recommend this enough. So definitely check this one out. And then the last jazz pressing that I picked up this year, this last year that I thought was amazing, is this Dave Brubeck record. Now, this is called the Dave Brubeck Trio, and this is live from Vienna in 1967. The reason this is so interesting to me and to a lot of Dave Brubeck fans is that normally in the 1960s, of course, it was always a Dave Brubeck quartet with Paul Desmond and Eugene Wright and Joe Morello and Dave Brubeck. For this gig, Paul Desmond apparently was hungover or something and didn't end up making the flight to Vienna. So they had to go on as a trio, and thankfully it was recorded. And it's a very, very, very cool concert, and just it's interesting to hear them playing as just a trio. Brubeck really goes off, and so does Morello and Eugene Wright, because they have to fill a lot of space that usually Paul Desmond would fill with his solos. But it's an amazing, amazing performance, and this pressing sounds great. This is put out by Brubeck Editions, which is a label that was put together by Dave Brubeck's family, and they recently released, or not recently, but in I think 2020 they released an album called Time Outtakes, which are a bunch of outtakes from the Time Out record, and that's another pressing that I really, really enjoy. But this is fantastic and definitely worth picking up if you're a Dave Brubeck fan. So highly recommend the Dave Brubeck Trio live from Vienna, 1967. Moving on, this album is probably my favorite new music from 2022, my new musical release. This is Elvis Costello and the Imposters, but it's just his normal backing band. And this is called The Boy Named If, rather. And this is a 2 LP album. It's got a cool gatefold. And if you like Elvis Costello, and who doesn't, I think this is one of his best records he's made in a long, long time. I loved every single song on this, and I listened to this over and over and over again when it first came out. And the pressing is really, really nice. Sounds great, and the songs are just brilliant as always. And Elvis Costello is one of those artists that, like a Dylan or like a Joni Mitchell or someone like that, just consistently puts out amazing work and constantly evolves. And this album is just a great one, and I cannot recommend it enough. So definitely wanted to include this in my favorite pressings from 2022. Elvis Costello and the Imposters, The Boy Named If. Fantastic. Okay, this one officially came out in 2021, but I'm pretty sure that it didn't come out in my record store as far as being able to pick it up until 2022. Because if I looked on my Instagram, if you want to follow my Instagram, it's Needle Meets Vinyl. I post all the records I listen to, most of the records I listen to. And the first time I posted this one was in January of 2022. And I think that's the day I picked it up. So anyway, I'm including it in 2022, even though it says it was released in 2021. That being said, and I did just say a whole lot, this is Lindsey Buckingham, and of course Lindsey Buckingham was in the band Fleetwood Mac, but this is his solo album. It's a self-titled record, and it is absolutely fantastic. Every single song on this is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I love Lindsey Buckingham. I think he is completely underrated, especially his solo work. And this is just a very, very catchy and very just experimental, but experimental without being out of reach for the masses. I think it's just a very, very great album. How many times can I say very? A lot. It's very, very wonderful. And yeah, I just love the playing. I love the songwriting. I love the way he sings. I love the arrangements. Highly recommend picking this one up. Lindsey Buckingham's self-titled album. Great, great record. Okay, and another reissue. This is Steely Dan's Can't Buy a Thrill. And I have been listening to this so much. It sounds amazing. This is mastered by Bernie Grundman. And of course, I made a complete video all about this specific pressing. If you want to check that out, there'll be a link down below. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts about this, but I just wanted to include it in my favorite pressings from 2022 because I really, really have enjoyed this and it sounds fantastic. And I know there's a special UHRQ, I believe that's what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, there's a special limited edition version of this release that's cut completely analog, I think released on 2 LPs at 45 RPM, and that's supposed to be amazing as well. But this is just the standard release that they put out that you can pick up right now for, I think, maybe $25, something like that. And it sounds great to my ears. And if you like Steely Dan, this is definitely a great pickup. So Steely Dan, Can't Buy a Thrill, for sure worth picking up. And by the way, it is a gatefold, if you care. And last but not least, this should come as no surprise, the Beatles Revolver Super Deluxe Edition. This is the 4 LP and 1 EP version. I've talked about this a whole bunch, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But I did really, really like it. And obviously I can't have my favorite albums of 2022 without including this Super Deluxe Edition. Of course, I have my own issues with it. I think it could have been better in some spots, and I don't love the new remix. But as far as the sessions go and the mono LP that's included in here and the booklet and just the overall packaging, this was definitely a hit for me. And I have listened to it a lot, and I will continue to listen to it. So definitely one of my favorite releases in 2022. So anyway, these are my favorite releases of 2022, vinyl releases. I'd love to know what yours were, and if maybe there's some that I haven't included that you think I should pick up. But until then, let's hope 2023 has some interesting releases, including maybe a Beatles Rubber Soul Super Deluxe Edition, which I'm sure will happen. And then who knows what else. So I'm going to try to put all these here so you can take one more look at the list. And if I had to choose my favorite of all the pressings this last year, 2022, I keep saying this year, my favorite pressing of 2022, I think John Coltrane's Blue Train gets my vote as my favorite pickup of 2022 as far as overall sound quality and just overall packaging and everything. This is an amazing, amazing release. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, that's it for now. So take care and bye for now.